I think the first thing I would ask, and I would say it directly and respectfully, is who do you want to be?
Mm.
Who do you want to be? Do you want to be the person that helps your people grow? Because ultimately, helping them will help you. But are you going to be average, or do you want to win the championship? Whatever that means to you. I think that people who put effort into starting their own business, I have family members that run their own business, and it's a tremendous amount of work and sacrifice and risk because most business people are pretty sharp. They can go get a job, but they've chosen to do this for whatever reason it is. They want to become wealthy. They want the freedom to be their own boss. They want to make the decisions. They want to be the leader. They want to inspire others. Whatever the reason is why they chose to be the boss, I would ask them ultimately who they want to be. And probably the second thing I would ask them is to share with me about something that they learned and something that they practiced that they became good at.
Please welcome America's service sales coach, Joe Crisara.
Welcome to the Service MVP Podcast, the show that helps home service professionals master high-value sales, build stronger client relationships, and grow their business like never before. Join industry experts as they share real strategies that drive results. If you're ready to level up your service game, you're in the right place. Let's get started.
It's the Service MVP Podcast.
Thank you for listening and watching the Service MVP Podcast. I want to give you a copy of my free book. Just click on the link below in the description and one will be sent to you from me personally. Thank you so much for listening. Welcome to the Service MVP Podcast. My name is Joe Crisara, America's service coach. And we have with us a very special guest. His name is Nick Bouza. And Nick is a director of training for a blue-collar service industry client who, and Nick, his passion is to make sure people do training. Nick, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started with this, and tell us about the importance of why you chose training as one of the things you love to do.
Okay, thanks, Joe. My name is Nick Bouza. I am the director of training, like you said, for a larger company with a multi-state presence. And I really got into training accidentally. In 2013, I was working for a plumbing and HVAC company, a shop in Houston. And the owner of the company asked me to do training on water filtration because the guys didn't know much about it. So I conducted the training, and she told me, I want you to do that. And ignorantly, I said, do you want me to do training on water filtration? Like, I didn't really understand where she was coming from. And she said, no, silly, I want you to train people. You're good at it.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of happened to me. I wasn't looking for it per se. My dad told me he always told me I should be a teacher. I didn't really understand why. I thought maybe, because they have summers off and it's kind of a cool gig. And looking back over the course of my working life, I realized that I was always kind of teaching somebody something or helping them or training. It's just my nature. And then it became my passion when I realized, first I worked on myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that there was a lot of holes in my game, meaning how I talked to people. I didn't know how to communicate properly. I thought I was a pretty good plumber, but I didn't always express myself well or truly get to know the client. So then it became a passion.
Oh, wow. Great. That's really great. So, Nick, what is the main problem that you see with companies that, obviously the job is a full-time job as a trainer. A lot of times people use training as an afterthought. It's something that, oh yeah, I do
Sure.
training with my guys all the time. Like I already know what I'm doing
Sure.
or any kind of thing. But what do you think one of the biggest mistakes you see out there with companies, just in your purview, about the what they say one thing, but they're kind of gaslighting themselves and doing something else about that? Well, go ahead and tell us a little bit about what you've seen in that regard.
I think the number one problem is follow-up. They'll do training once, if they even do it at all. And without consistent practice on something, without mastering the key fundamentals of something, it never becomes part of you. So the follow through is extremely critical. Training is not an event. So people think of it as an event. it really is more of a lifestyle. It's like exercise or anything else that you do, that to truly develop skill, you've got to do it over and over again. So I think that the one biggest problem is follow through. And that's really a cause of, they don't see the value in it because they think they know already. So I've been there. I've been the guy at the back of the room. I actually was the guy at the back of the room that would say, "Oh, we have to do this again." That God has a sense of humor, because I ended up being the guy in the front of the room. So
It's funny, yeah.
it is funny. I really was the guy in the back of the room saying, "This is nonsense. It's a waste of my time. Just let me go to work. I know what I'm doing." But when I humbled myself and I realized that perhaps I needed to improve myself, which is really what caused the change. I wanted to do better. I had to find a way to do that. I realized that I didn't have all the answers to everything. So I guess follow-up would be, or follow through. Follow-up is number one. Number two, and really it's probably like 1.5. It's really understanding that it's okay to have somebody else help you and help you improve and maybe show you things that you didn't understand before, you didn't know before. So those are the main problems I see at most companies I've worked for and worked with.
I want everybody to come to the next Total Immersion, the life-changing event where you increase your sales and your personal growth. What should we do?
I think, what do you think about the ego? Because I think it's like in the trades, when you're working with blue collar people, one of the things people are scratching and clawing for is a sense of confidence. Because I think what you learn in the trades is that the most successful people who work in customer service or in any kind of a trade are the ones who are confident that they can solve the problem and also to be able to handle customers and stuff like that. And I think confidence is sort of like a thing there. But sometimes, can you speak on the fact that sometimes the ego or the confidence, the false sense of confidence that we think we fool ourselves into having, can get in the way of learning new lessons, having an open mind? Talk about that a little bit, if you don't mind.
So something that I'll mention on ego. I think ego, in a sense, a strong feeling of yourself is good, but ego can also be a blanket on insecurity. So I think oftentimes people that demonstrate an outward exuberance about themselves, or maybe present themselves in a way like they're the man all the time, I really think they're masking an insecurity. I think someone who's truly confident, they don't need to show off. So when you really know what you're doing in your job and you talk to the customer, they can feel it, right? Like when I fly on a plane, I'm not flying the plane. I mean, I've flown a couple of small planes in my life, but I'm not in charge of that plane with all the people that are inside. So I need to trust this person flying the plane, the pilot and the co-pilot. So I would prefer, if they weren't egomaniacs, I would prefer that they were really confident professionals. And you can feel that off of a person.
That's a good point. Yeah, I think you can see like when, I think it's a good analogy. Like the pilot, like, don't worry, I'll just fix it if I'm such a great pilot, I can overcome any problem. And
That's a problem.
There's no need to do a pre-flight check or anything like that. We got it. I'll just I can land it without power if I need to. So it's like, dude, I don't think I want to go on a ride with that guy. It's like,
no.
I really go on the line with like, hang on, we got to make sure we're going to check it again. I think you mentioned it before. Training is not just it's a lifestyle. I always say it's a ritual.
That's a great way to put it.
It's a ritualistic thing we do. And if you were to say, if you have any spirituality inside or anything like that, which not, whether you have religion or not, you could say to somebody who's like, well, why do I do the same training all the time? It's like, well, I don't know. Do you, when you go to church, don't you say the same prayers and the same thing, the same hymns you're singing? How many times you got to sing, Rock of Ages? whatever for you. Like,
Right.
I think I got it. But or I mean, I could read the Serenity Prayer, 100 times in a row, and I would get something the 100th time that I didn't get the first time from the Serenity Prayer or the Prayer of Saint Francis or whatever. Those kind of
Sure.
those prayers are just like they're gold, and those are rituals. I think that religions have come up with, but I think training is sort of like a religious experience because it's like you are growing spiritually from in your personal growth. I think is a spiritual growth. What do you think about that? That's my opinion. Any thoughts on that?
I would agree with you. And I think one of the biggest takeaways about your statement that I identify with is it seems like, whether it be religion or spirituality or something you do in a ritualistic fashion, it's not always about you, right? This is really for the benefit of the customer. I mean, ultimately, it will affect you and affect the business you work with or for, or that run the business that you run, perhaps. But this is kind of like a higher level, like a higher plane that we're trying to reach. We're really doing this for the customer. So the customer has the best experience. So the customer can experience what top quality service is like. So the customer enjoys the service experience when perhaps they're under a lot of stress and they're calling you because they have a problem. It's not that they woke up one day and said, this Joe Crisara guy's really cool. I think I'll have him out today to fix my HVAC system. They have a problem. And I think the ritual of going through it, the actual practice of it, it makes you so much more refined in your approach. And that refined approach, your ability to convey that to the customer in a very professional way, that only comes through practice. And that if you have someone who's explaining to you a surgical procedure and they're a doctor and they seem very polished, your confidence level in them rises up. If they're fumbling through the explanation, you're probably thinking, I'm not going to let this guy put me to sleep and stick a scalpel in me. That's kind of a bad idea.
That's a good point.
So I really think that the ritual of doing it, the experience of it, setting time aside for it, going through the same things over and over again, that's really where skill and perfection are developed. And that will give you a lot of confidence because you can draw from it instantly. It becomes part of you. So it's not just something you're doing. You can actually, it's you. It becomes you.
Yeah. I was just talking to a guy who was a ex-pro football player, and he was saying about how his dad made him get up every morning, and then he had to he used a push mower because he was in football, and he was like, learn how to push that thing up the hill, and then he got him a blocking sled. He goes, every day we got to go hit the sled, and he's like, every day the same thing, and he's like, but when he got into high school football, he realized that he was dominating the other kids because
Oh, yeah.
that ritual that he had done when he was growing up, when he was 8, from the time he was like 6 years old to the time he got into high school, he realized he was way more prepared for that activity than the other kids. And he wound up getting a college scholarship and going on to be a professional football player because of that, right? I mean, talk about that, about the repetition. I think it's one of the things about it. Training. How do you know you got the right person about training? Somebody who can look at that repetition and get excited about doing it again. Like they love practice, not just love the game. What do you think about that, Nick? Give us any kind of stories you can tell or thoughts you have on something like that. What do you think there?
Yeah, you got to make it fun. You have to put some energy into it. You have to choose to involve yourself in it, not just go through it. Right? So involve yourself in the moment. My dad used to tell me, wherever I go, there I am. And I used to think it was this funny saying when I was a kid, right? But it's really true. I mean, if you're there and you're painting the submarine like I did many years ago, and it's not the most fun thing to do in August in Virginia, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you might as well make the best of it. If you're going to spend the energy in it to do it, you might as well have good energy. So I think it's the attitude is the number one secret to doing things over and over again. Maybe develop games around it. Maybe develop different scenarios. Maybe have a person train you than what's normal. And also as a trainer, someone who's going to train other people or leading a training event, get to know the people that you're training. I was online just a few minutes ago, actually less than an hour, training a guy at a new location. He's an experienced plumber. He was experienced with the software, but I got to know him before we started doing training. So then I knew where his frame of reference was, and I put energy into it, so it wasn't boring. So I really think it's attitude is king and something you can always control. And frankly, I think it's up to you to choose to have a good attitude when you're going to do this.
Yeah,
Because
I think
I know for a fact you've done it 1,000 times, right?
it's,
Or
well,
more.
I have thousands of times, and then I
Yeah.
think it's the, but I'm still excited to do it every time I do it. It's like brand new every time. Like this podcast is brand new, and I don't consider this like a repetition because it's like talking to you. You're a different person, so I'm learning something new
Right.
from you every time I talk to somebody. I learn something from other people, and then that's the thing about it. I think that if you get excited about learning, I think I can't imagine like people who are like give up on life in a way. I think they've given up on learning. I think that's the thing that it would make me give up on life if I didn't have learning and things like that together. Does that make sense, sir? You know what I'm saying, Nick?
Well, it does, and especially as we age and we get involved with different things. You have a family, or you're busy, or you get home every night, hopefully around the same time, or it's late because you had a long day, and you've got to find things to interest your mind, things to practice, things to get good at, to keep your mind elastic. And I think that learning, for me personally, is something I love to do. That's why I still take classes and things I don't know about, and kind of keeps my brain going. It gives you something to be interested in.
Mm-hmm. Well, I tell you what, Nick, I think speaking from him. I'd like to go over a little bit about you as a professional trainer, like I am. I think a lot of people think it's just like, oh, anybody could do that. Just a guy gets up in front of a room, and as long as you don't mind doing that, you're good to go, right? But there is a structure that's a lot more in depth than the people who have not full time done training. Like, if you own a company, you probably do some training, but you probably also do your books, and you also do truck
Sure.
purchasing, you do inventory, you do inventory, like you're doing all kinds of stuff there as well. But tell us about, if you will, what I've noticed is that when I've tried to teach other people to do training, it's like, well, it's actually way more than just talking about things,
Sure.
but it's the technology that's needed in today's world to do training properly. Yes, you do have to know what you're talking about, and you do it in a way where you're kind of doing it to serve people, training to serve people, and the way you communicate is part of training. But then there's also the environment of training too, because you're trying to train
Mhm.
in the wrong environment, like
Right.
like you're sitting in a circle in a live meeting versus sitting at tables like you're sitting in a row compared to sitting in a circle. What have you learned about just structuring training? It's like if somebody said, "Hey, Nick, I want you to do training on this new product we have, that's new water purification or whatever, something like that," and you say, "Oh, I was so I knew we should hold some training next week on this." It wouldn't just be throw the stuff out there and teach them the material. It'd be how many people are we going to train? Tell us what goes into a quality training experience for you, the teacher, as well as for the people who are receiving the training. Nick, could you talk a little bit about that too?
Yeah, sure, Joe. No problem. Like you said, I need to know, well, where it's going to be, what time it's going to be, how many people are there, what's the room look like, what's the lighting in the room look like, the technology available for me to use in the room. Do they have a monitor like a Vibe board, which is like a gigantic computer that's on the wall? Do they have no one uses an overhead projector anymore, but do they have maybe a high-tech projector that's suspended from the ceiling? Do they have a big screen TV? What tools am I going to need? Am I going to need a PowerPoint? Am I going to need some type of reference material, which I always suggest you give people reference material because nobody remembers everything. It's impossible.
Mm-hmm.
I have to prepare my opener for the meeting, then the main content of the opener, right? Okay, what's inside the opener of the meeting? And then I'm going to prepare the body of the meeting itself with all the key points that I'm going to cover. Then depending on who I'm talking with, who I'm speaking with, who I'm training with, I need to understand who they are and where they come from. Because you've done lots of meetings, and you, as a trainer, it's a really neat thing. Every once in a while, I'll catch it when it happens where I hook them. Like I got the group, I could feel it that we're all kind of clicked in together as like a team, and we're going through this experience of training together, and everyone kind of clicks in. And it's not just me talking. I want to involve them in it. I want them to ask me questions. I want to be able to control, for example, let's say there's a guy in the room who just, maybe he's a little mouthy, he likes to interrupt, whatever. I may walk over where he's sitting and just talk, still talking to the rest of the people, but I physically close the distance on him, which usually will quiet him down. Sometimes there's people that are out of control, and those are the guys that I usually ask to help me. Say, hey, can you help me with something? And that they either participate, maybe because they want to, or that quiets them down. So there's a lot to do when you're actually training a group of people. I would say it probably takes 8 hours of preparation time for every hour of presentation. If you were to start from a raw basis of, I have to put together a training class. I mean, I've done videos, service videos, teaching subjects, teaching greeting people, teaching how to discover opportunities within the home with people. And that takes hours to prepare. I'll have a storyboard, basically. I have stands in the room where I'm filming, the professional grade camera. So there's all kinds of things that go into this. It's not just standing up there talking. It's not a lecture. If you're going to coach someone through a process, you need to be able to lead them and involve them to the process.
What are some of the objectives that you set for yourself when you're doing a training event or doing a training segment for people? What are some of the objectives that let you know, or that you set for yourself as a bar, then that that you've crossed the bar in a way and have were successful? Can it always be gauged at the event whether it was successful, or is it
No,
something that's later on? How do you? What's the objective, and how do you know when you kind of done the job right in a way, Nick?
well, I think that the first thing I want them to do is learn the material, right? And I'm in great hope that they participate as well. Sometimes people are quiet. Not everybody's a super public, outgoing, talkative person, and that's okay. When I'm not at work, I would prefer to be more of an introvert. That's what I'm actually like when I'm alone. I like to read. I like to sit on the porch and look at the birds and things like that. So I don't always surround myself with a lot of people. People like that, sometimes they need to absorb the material, kind of reflect on the experience, and then at a later date, we can unpack it through follow-up, which is really, really important. And then we go through that process again. So it's like going to a buffet, enjoying all this food, and later we can talk about it. Well, what did you like about it? Well, I like this. I really enjoyed the salad. It was amazing. When I go see my brother in Detroit, we usually go to a Brazilian steakhouse, which he loves. And I've found that I love the salad bar at this place because it's amazing. And they have all these different kinds of foods that I normally don't eat. So even though it's a steakhouse, I'm enjoying the different products that they have. Well, and we always talk about it. It's like our thing. Yeah, I like this. I like this cut of meat today. So you kind of have to unpack it so you can experience it. And if it's planned very well and it's orderly and you have participation during the event and it's very structured and you have good materials, you build trust with the people and they tend to open up their mind and they can learn the material better. They participate, and then we do follow-up. We kind of unpack it and then we practice it. So you have to follow up and practice. It's not something that, I don't know about you, but I'm always learning new things when I'm training somebody. And one of the things I learned, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Or they'll say something that's brilliant. Well, I think about it like this. I'm like, man, that's a great point. So then they're teaching me at the same time. So I think learning the material is probably my number one goal. I really want them to understand it. I want them to participate. I want to do follow-up with them, which is a scheduled event. It's not just something that might happen in the future. We want to practice that material. And just like any quality type of experience, we just have to do it over and over again and understand it's not just about us. I mean, it's about us, but it's about what we can provide for the customer.
Yeah, I think that's a great way of looking at it. And let's move a little bit to there's a hierarchy where I think a lot of people know that the training for a company is important, or else they wouldn't hire you or me. But there's, I think there's a great majority of people who don't think that they just try and hire an experienced guy and say he's got his own training. What do I need to train him. He's already got 20 years of experience and things like that. So what do you say to, I say there's a vast majority, honestly, there's only about, I'd say 5% of the contractors who really say, hey, we need something to be done on a full-time basis where our people are trained every day in a way that the training is something that is, you're going to take a portion of your day. Remember Stephen Covey said to sharpen that saw to stay sharp when you go out and do like batting practice before you hit in the game, or you're going to be in that layup line in basketball, or to get yourself warmed up for the game. Not just warmed up, but to get yourself sharp for the game here. Could you speak to those 95% of the people out there that think that, people already know what they're doing? Why do I have to train an experienced guy? What would you say to them? What would you say to an owner who is not participating in some kind of a training activity to help his team?
I think the first thing I would ask, and I would say it directly and respectfully, is who do you want to be?
Mm.
Like, who do you want to be? Do you want to be the person that helps your people grow? Because ultimately helping them will help you. But are you going to be average? Or do you want to win the championship? Whatever that means to you. I think that people who put effort into starting their own business, I have family members that run their own business, and it's a tremendous amount of work and sacrifice and risk, because most business people are pretty sharp. They can go get a job, but they've chosen to do this for whatever reason it is. They want to become wealthy. They want the freedom to be their own boss. They want to make the decisions. They want to be the leader. They want to inspire others. Whatever the reason is why they chose to be the boss, I would ask them ultimately who they want to be. And probably the second thing I would ask them is to share with me about something that they learned and something that they practiced that they became good at.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that they're confident in their people. I am. And there are some guys out there, and out of the hundreds and hundreds of people that I've trained, I've probably met like 2 of them that I could remember that they were just amazing salespeople. They could sell anything. Customers liked them. They did beautiful quality work. I mean, they were really the complete package. But that's a rare individual. And so I think the owner should really consider whether making a small investment to train somebody, it could dynamically impact that person's work life, their family, and really the quality of the business in the end of the day. So I would ask them what their goal is, who they want to be. I mean, there's a lot of competition out there, and you have to differentiate yourself from the competition somehow. And that guy in the truck, or the lady in the truck, the service technician, they have to be a little bit different than the competition. So I'm not going to rely on the last person that may have trained them. Frankly, Joe, they may have trained them incorrectly. They may not have trained them the way I want them to be trained. And of no fault of their own, perhaps like the position I was in many years ago, I had to train myself because I was trying to improve. So I was reading books. It was before really YouTube hit the scene. And just around that time, I would watch some videos, and I was really trying to improve myself as a person. I would just ask them, do they want to get better? Do they want to improve?
I think I said it's about the constant improvement. I think, when you put it that way, it's like, I've never seen a pro athlete or somebody who's really good at what they do not love to do more of the thing that they love to do. I think anybody who is good at it, they love what they do. And when the work they put in, they love the work. I gotta admit, I'm not I don't go to any CrossFit gyms or any kind of I go walking. So my physical enjoyment is I'm going to take a 90-minute walk today and just breathe fresh air and listen to some podcasts and just kind of walk the streets of Playa Vista, California here. It just gives me a chance to relax and experience some serenity and also get some physical activity. That's what I do. But I've also met people who are like involved with CrossFit, and they are fanatics about it. And I'm like, man, To me, it looks like torture, but it's like, dude, you're torturing yourself. But they're like, oh, I love it. You got to try it. You'll love it. And it's like, probably I might, but I'm afraid I might love it. That might be too much for me. But they have to. I think that's the thing about it. The people who are good at something, they love to work on it over. So I guess it could tell you that when you're interviewing an applicant for a job or you're getting a new coworker into your company, that if they don't love the training or don't love to do something to get excellent at the thing they do, that they probably don't love it. Does that make sense? And that is it really possible to do a job in service if you don't really love the service in a way, Nick?
I think you can do it, but you can only fake it for so long. Like it's like any relationship, like the old days. You date someone for like a couple years, then you get married, and the real them pops out. And it's what I was told one time: what you like about your fiance, you'll love about her later. But what you don't like about her now, it'll drive you crazy later because you can't escape it, right? So just like my dad said, wherever you go, there you are. So I hope, yeah, I really hope that they want to help people. And I think that one of the greatest things learning a system like you have, a technology like you have, is it allows me as a licensed master plumber, I can be a craftsman and I don't have to worry about trying to be a salesperson. Because I really, and what I mean by salesperson, like someone who's trying to hustle somebody, because I don't really think that's what a salesperson does, but I think that's what the public thinks they do. It's all about getting to know the customer and what their wants and needs are and providing them with options that make sense for them. And I really want to take care of them. I want to help them. So if something like what you present can make that better for me and for them, like, why wouldn't I do that?
Yeah.
I think it made my life a lot easier, Joe. Personally.
I think, Nick, I think it's sales to me, effective sales that can be sustained, isn't done by push. It's done by boundaries. And I think the boundaries make it attractive. Like if it's like, oh, there's that place. There's an open door here. Let me walk into that. It's like you're walking, like the client's walking into that boundary,
right,
and experiencing
right,
what's in your heart to help people in a way.
right.
And I think that's kind of like what sales is letting people sell themselves. That number one, like this is the kind of guy I want to do business with, or the kind of lady I
Right.
want to do business with. That's number one. Number two,
Right.
let's see what the company, like I always think like, is this the kind of person I want to hand my money over to? I do I want to reward him for what they're doing right now? And if the answer is, yeah, I could see that. And number two, it's like, let me look deeper into their company and what they represent now. See if they really,
Sure.
do they really believe in what they're selling? Like that's the first thing is I'd like this person. Second thing is like, does this person really believe in what they're telling me right now? Do they believe in the price behind it? Do they really believe in like that's what I'm looking at. Does that make sense here? Because if I don't think I don't want to I don't really want to reward people for behaviors that I would not want for my team or for my in my life, a boundary I have in my own life. Number two, I want to make sure that this person knows what they're talking about and the competency is there and that they believe in what they do. Because I think when people believe in what they do, they can't be stopped is one of the things that I have observed. So Nick, tell me about that. Does that match up with the way you think about the same thing too? Or like, is that like another preaching to the choir here on that one? What do you think?
Well, I think maybe I say it in a slightly different way, but I think it's the same thing. I think it's like one way to go around the tree, and I think about it a different way, but we end up in the same spot. I want to do business with people I respect. So for me, respect is a very important thing, both given and earned, right? I want to do business with people that I respect, that maybe they share my values. They what I would call in the old days, when they call you a class act, right? A person of dignity, a company that has high behavior standards, that does quality work, that stands behind their work, not just some guy that shows up that does it cheap and maybe doesn't do it correct. So I want to really believe in them that they're going to do things the right way. And oftentimes the right way is not the cheapest way, and that's okay because I want it done one time. I don't want a cheap pilot. I prefer not to have a cheap surgeon, a cheap dentist, and I sure don't want a cheap plumber, because that just causes a multitude of problems later. So yeah, I think we're saying the same thing. To me, it's a respect deal. Do they have enough dignity within themselves, and are they the type of person, like you said earlier, that I want to do business with, that I want to give my money to? I would agree with you.
Yeah, good. I think we're on the same page there. Well, Nick, I think it's time for this podcast. I always say a good podcast starts on time and a great one ends on time. So I'm going to try and turn this one into a great one by ending it right on time here, Nick. Nick, is there something you'd like to just say to the blue collar service businesses out there that are aspiring to get their team trained to work at the highest level out there to serve the public?
Yeah, just start. Just start. Even if you've never done it before, even if it feels weird and uncomfortable, just give it a shot. And give it a shot doesn't mean try it once. It means start, practice it. Like any good skill, it takes time to develop. Give it a year. Train your people. Train your people and be consistent. So the secret is consistently. You don't have to be, Michael Jordan when you're in high school, right? It's one step at a time. Yeah. It's inch by inch. So have a goal, have a plan. But the most important thing is to start today. Yeah. Just get rolling on something and do it. Practice it. Make it part of your team. Believe in it. And you as the owner, as the boss, you've got to be able to do it too. So it's not just here, I'm going to take this information and give it to John, and John's going to do it.
And of course, that thing you're teaching, I would recommend highly. It's the thing right behind me, that book.
Yeah, no kidding.
The book right behind me there. What do you think of that?
What should we do? I just shared it with my boss.
Maybe start with that as a good, 430 pages of information to give you a source to, honestly, I love the book only because myself, I'm like, oh, what am I going to teach today? I'm just like, open it randomly. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's a great subject. It seems like it's like serendipity. Like anytime I just open any part of the book, I get, man, that's exactly what I need to work on today, kind of a thing. So I love
the holy book of training.
Well, I just like the fact that it's got a range of solutions that I think that gives you new ideas to start new initiatives. Because I think that's part of the training. Part of it is like, how am I going to approach this, and what's a new angle or a new way of doing it? I think I learned a lot from you, and
thanks, man. I appreciate
Nick
it.
has attended our classes, and I've learned a lot from him and his
they're great
enthusiasm, and also I hope we've picked up some stuff along the way too.
I hope so too, sir. Thanks for having me today. I really appreciate you.
Thank you, Nick. I appreciate you, everyone. That's all we have today for today's Service MVP podcast. I will definitely check everybody out and be here on the next one. Thank you, everyone.